This interview with Sadhguru inspired us so much because we were also in kind of like fear and uncertainty about AI. And he actually turned it around and made us to look at this AI problem, sort of, from a different perspective. It is going to take over the jobs which are not necessary to do. You don't have to spend lifetime just in front of Excel sheets anymore. You don't have to do any tasks which are repetitive and which can be done by some robot. It can actually give you space to breathe and to live.
Because Sadhguru said that most of what we are doing is just gathering data, memorizing data, and then repeating that data and somehow make sense of it and try to do something with it. This is all intellectual. And as a human species, we have collected such a vast amount of knowledge, information, science and wisdom. So how great is it that there is actually an intelligence which just takes care of all that, and we can use it to our benefit, and it can make everything so much faster. We don't have to all study for 20 years to get really good at some science. We can actually have the information that we have gathered as a collective at our fingertips.
We are basically in school teaching children how to repeat data. Like, isn't it crazy? Like, we don't teach them to think, we don't teach people to feel and to connect with nature, which is feeding our lives, our bodies, our souls, which is making us connected to the universal intelligence. We are teaching people in school to repeat data and to be great workers and to do repetitive tasks.
And Sadhguru was actually saying that he hopes that AI will take over all our jobs, so we have all this time freed up for ourselves. And the interviewer was asking, but what are we going to do with our lives?
Yeah.
And Sadhguru simply said, live. And I love it so much how he's just hitting the nail on its head with such a simple statement. Yes, we're going to live.
Mm-hmm.
And he also was saying that people always ask, what are you doing for a living? And when they ask him, he just says, I breathe. Of course, he has to breathe to be alive, right? What's this question? What is this question?
We actually were dealing with it 5 years ago when you went to your hometown. And because it's a very small town, everybody wants to know everything about everybody. And I also said something like this to him, that he should answer this to people. And it's just confirmation for us that Sadhguru thinks the same way. And it's beautiful because now we no longer are going to be enslaved to this big database, this big mind. Now we are going to sink into the heart where we belong, where we all are supposed to live. And you know what's going to be the toughest part of this all? To learn how to really live. To learn how to experience what this nature and what this world is offering to us.
We will have to teach this to the newest generations, so they will not do the same thing that we have been doing, just working with our minds. And
I think that we have to learn it from the future generations, because they already know how to do it when they are born. But we were always teaching the little children how to behave in a database, you know, in this huge space of data. So when you see a little child,
we have to learn from them. That's a very good point.
Yeah, we have to learn from the very little children, because they already have this knowledge. They come with everything what they need to really love and experience life truly, with love, in love. Only what we have to do is to become a little bit like those children in purity, not hurting anybody. I'm not saying that, but in this love, in this space where we cooperate with each other, where we are going to give examples like this, you know, so they are encoding into their little brains that we are actually in this beautiful planet like heaven on earth.
And now it gets really important, because Sadhguru was also very realistic with the fact that when people will no longer have jobs, when there would be something like universal income and everybody would just have access to all the resources, he was saying that you no longer have to worry about bread, in a sense, that there will be a certain percentage of people that will become very lethargic. They will be very lazy, they will be front of their screens, they will overeat, they will become fat and obese. Then there will be a certain percentage of people that will start to act out and be aggressive and do stupid shit. And then there will be a percentage of people that will also have mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, and whatnot. But there are also people who will have a really wonderful mission in their life. And this is what we want to get you to as well, because he said that his mission in his lifetime is to get as many people as possible to that side that live a really meaningful life, that contribute to society and to the world in some positive way, that makes them feel enriched and feel worthy to live. And a lot of people will just by default not really find that or lose it. And Petra and me have already experienced what it is like in the last 5 to 6 years to not work anymore. We have been working since we got out of school, since we stopped studying, and then we had the opportunity to quit our jobs both at the same time. And at first it was really cool, to have all this freedom and have this time and we can do whatever we want. But it also came with a lot of challenges, and exactly those which Sadhguru realistically already predicted.
It was also supported by COVID and being trapped at home, but it immediately, the body is so used to doing something, from the very early childhood. You have to go to the kindergarten, you have to get up early, all of these duties, all from the very childhood. And it's an amazing system we live in. But
yeah, like a little child that has to get up at 7 a.m. to go to kindergarten or
and
to
they
primary
have to sleep.
school.
We have to sleep. We have to get our melatonin levels, all those hormones correctly balanced. Kids know when to wake up. Kids know that maybe it's good time to wake up at 5 or 4 in the morning in the summer, and maybe it's good to wake up much, much later in the winter when there is no light outside. They are working on those great clocks, which is natural clocks, and we are all just programmed to wake up, but it's not ours, it's not.
It's like a program to completely forget about your body and the environment.
Yes, and this AI, if it would take over these things, it would be so freeing that we would not even know what to do with that freedom. And there was a really tough time when we stopped working because we felt guilty. We didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know how to really sustain our money flow. We really didn't know how to grasp it. It was extremely challenging for our mind, especially for my mind. I was very triggered, very nervous, very stressed. I had dreams about my work, about those repetitive tasks, which could do any AI now. I was just having dreams, nightmares, for a half year. It was crazy. I was waking up sweaty. I was still not making it into meetings and so on. It all doesn't have to be anymore in the future,
And for several months, right? Like for over half a year. Yes. And I also had nightmares about my work and, everything that you could imagine. And it was so weird because we were out of that, but our body was still producing the same chemicals. And it took so much to really flesh it all out. And for me, it was super stressful.
Yeah.
How will society perceive me? Especially growing up in a small village where everybody knows everybody. Whenever we would go back to that small village, people would ask, what do you do? What do you do for a living, right? And to fold myself into that society and try to be normal and try to be understood by people is so extremely hard and so unknown, something that we haven't experienced.
I was also super fully ready at 7 o'clock in the morning every single day, dressed up and ready to work. Whatever it was, the work, I already gave me some tasks which were repetitive, which could be nonsense, but I was exhausting myself with these tasks. So, because my brain was so programmed to do this.
And guilty.
And I felt so guilty when I wasn't working hard and grinding. And your brain is programmed like this too. You are also programmed to go to kindergarten, to school, to constantly report to somebody else how you're doing, what you're eating, if you're fat, if you're thin, if you're dressed up really well. All these data, which are implanted in our brain. Oh, now this is in, that is out, you can't wear this now, high heels and barefoot shoes and this is now in food styles, and it's all data. And when we are like free of that, when AI takes care of it, then we will just listen to our body. Oh, I feel like having vegetables, because it makes me feel, and I will know exactly how it makes me feel. Maybe it makes me feel a bit more light and good. I sleep better. Okay, I'll have time. Basically, I'll have mind space for even perceiving and feeling these feelings.
What also happened to me was because of all this program and this big change in my life, I started to create mental health issues. I started to speak very negatively about myself for several months and years in a row, until I had anxiety and panic attacks that I could barely control anymore. I was at a point where I was like, I don't care anymore. I would take whatever medication to make it stop. I would go to psychotherapy no matter what. I just want to get rid of it. I was able to heal myself from this, to free myself from it over time by doing the meditations and by just changing how I was thinking and feeling every day. But this is also something that a lot of people will meet, and it happened during the COVID time. A lot of people didn't have to go to work, or they were just stuck at home or constantly having home office. They were also developing these mental health issues, and we have currently a pandemic of this.
Also, for example, about food. Imagine that we were just using our body as a machine in the past. It's gonna totally transform the way we are approaching our bodies and how we are insensitive to our bodies, because we had to feed this body machine 3 times a day, preferably 6 times a day, or however
Doesn't
often.
matter if you're hungry or not, but at noon you eat lunch.
Yes,
and at
exactly.
6 p.m. you eat dinner, whatever.
But our ancestors never had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sometimes they had food, and someday they didn't. Maybe you would feel like eating once a day, and maybe you would feel like once every second day, And this gives space how we are going to save the nature, because we will understand and we will feel in our bodies by clearing the mind.
We will live in harmony again.
In a harmony.
With nature,
yeah.
and with this planet. I think it's also important to address it, because I was also starting to be on my phone a lot more and watch nonsensical videos and still search for entertainment and dopamine. And I was also distracting myself from the fact that I don't have a job, I don't have to work, I don't know what to do, I don't have a purpose, I don't have a mission. And it was nice for some time, we were manifesting that money so we didn't have to work. The video is up here, it's linked if you want to watch it. But we also felt at some point that we want to do something with our lives. We don't just want to live off of our abundance that we create, we also want to contribute in some way. It was meaningful for us. And for me, something that inspired me or inspired my mission was when I was going on hikes in Switzerland and I saw that there is trash everywhere. Plastic bottles, paper, everything. People just throw it into nature, and it really hurt me. And it made me angry at first. And later I thought, I have to tell people to not do that. But I realized that this is not going to change any behavior. Just telling people don't do that, this is not good, educating them about it is not going to do anything with the planet. So I realized that the only way how I could address that and how I could change that is by helping people open their hearts and cleaning inside of them. Because I remembered back in the day when I was a teenager, I also thought it was cool to just throw trash on the ground and let somebody else clean it up or throw it into nature. I didn't care about the consequences. I didn't care about what could happen to it. But once I was able to open my heart and be more self-aware and more conscious, I realized that I would never do that. It's just not possible with an open heart to do that. And connected to that is my other mission, which is to also restore soil health all over the world. That we don't overuse the soil and exhaust the soil, that we can bring life back into that soil, have better quality food and have a better climate. That's something that I really want to do. And this YouTube channel is my way how I can contribute to the world in some way to really improve it.
Because we realized when you have kind of good resources, when you have a good food in your life, and when you don't have to work, you are naturally going to take care of the earth. You're naturally tending to plant seeds, see how it grows. We are all having it inside of us. And you just want to cuddle with Mother Earth. Raphael does it all the time, that he goes out and he just has to water the plants and take care of the plants and pull out the weeds and all these things, just because there is nothing better to do than to be part of this growth and thriving of the Mother Nature and observe it, how it's from the little mini seed becomes huge trees and so on. And I think it's fascinating to be part of it, and it's just making you so humble and in love with this beautiful creation which we can live in, instead of repeating and grinding. And imagine if we would stop getting money for everything what we are actually working for. You know, that you don't have to do YouTube videos just because you get money for it. You don't have to do Instagram because you get money for it. You don't have to go to work because you get money for it. You just will do things which you want to really truly do, which are yours, and you will not have to do that. That's gonna be taken over by AI. It's not science fiction. I truly believe that it's going to happen, because when I see how far we've got about AI, how it can give me, the ChatGPT can give me like a summary of what I should do and what's the best product in Amazon suitable for me, for my requirements, and how many people did what reviews on Amazon, and it just will give me overall reviews so I don't have to spend hours of studying. When we were in Switzerland, I had this experience that I could help to a cow to deliver her baby without anybody, in the middle of nowhere, just me and the cow with the assistance of 20 other cows. And the baby cow was immediately taken away from the mama, and it couldn't even stand up. It couldn't even taste the breast milk. It couldn't even look into mommy's eyes. It couldn't even smell it, you know, and it was immediately taken away from mama. And I was so heartbroken, because it was such a beautiful experience with this baby and with this cow, such a strong connection, that it broke my heart. And I knew that we have to do something as people. We can't take babies from their mothers, because it's such a strong, extremely important bond that, you know, the baby, when it's alone, it's very scared, disconnected. It doesn't know where to lean on, who to hide behind, because baby cows are hiding behind mothers, and what mothers doing, the baby's doing it too. And babies are drinking, you know, they have the face, the nose full of milk and so on. They are happy and satisfied, you know, when they are with their mothers. And it's very normal practice, for example, in Switzerland, but I believe in everywhere, that they are just taken away from mother if they are boys or girls, and they are just put towards meat production. We call it beef, but it's not a beef, it's a baby cow which needs her mother.
Veal.
We call it veal, yeah. But I don't want this to be happening. I still honor the meat, but why don't we give them, if we already make them to have the babies, why don't we give them this bond, this connection? Can you believe what's in that meat? Which is scared, the baby veal is scared, somewhere in a dark room, never saw mommy, never knows how to react when somebody comes in. They have to figure everything out. This way they are next to the mother, and when mother is calm, you are calm, you know. It's always like that. We are mirroring. We all have this in our brains. So that's my mission. I want everybody to see this. I want people to ask, oh, where is it coming from? Do they behave nicely to the animals? Do I need to have every day my steak? Do I have to really overeat with these things?
It also comes down to, again, open heart. A farmer that has truly an open heart, he wouldn't take the baby cow away from the mother. I believe it's okay to farm cows and to raise them for milk or raise them for meat, but this special bond is something that inspired Petra so much that she also made it her mission that she would like people to really be so connected to that animal be so connected to themselves even that they would never be able to do this. They wouldn't get it over their heart to do such an act. And that's also the reason why you make these videos, right?
Yes, I think the mother, when I saw her, how she was after the delivery, you know, she needs the oxytocin to contract the uterus. It's all connected. The baby is not detached from the mother, it's still continuing. We think that birth is finished, but then it comes a process where the baby is still connected, it's still creating hormones inside of the mother's brain and the body, and baby's brain and the body are developing also absolutely differently, not in a stress. When we are going to keep them together, and it's just a base to everything.
And we believe we all want to have some meaning for life, some purpose for life. Sadhguru was saying that he's doing what is needed, and everybody should do what is needed. And he sees there are still a lot of people that ask for him, Sadhguru, come here, come here. They want him as a guide, they want to overcome their limitations, they want to connect to themselves more. So there is something needed for him to do. He said if he wouldn't have to do anything, if nobody would need him, that would be his dream scenario. He could just meditate until he falls dead. He wouldn't have a problem with that. But we all want to contribute in some way because it is needed in this world. And for some person, it might be, hey, I'm gonna have a restaurant and I'll make really good food. I'll look that meat is from a really good place where they really care for the animals. We just met somebody and she had this mission in her restaurant and we find it so beautiful. That's the restaurant we want to go to, you know, and it's opening our heart to go there and to hear the story from the owner.
Yeah, we don't want to go to Hell's Kitchen where everybody screams at everybody and everybody's intention, because you put the energy into the food if you want, or if you don't want it.
And then you call it Hell's Kitchen.
And then you call it Hell's Kitchen, and then you are eating hell, and then you have a stomach sickness and you don't know why. I'll tell you why, because you ate something from Hell's Kitchen, or people who are stressed as chefs.
And this is so beautiful when we can do something with a really good intention, no matter how big or small it is. It doesn't matter, but it's gonna create such a big impact. And we would love for you to look inside and look around you. What is something that really moves you, or what is something that you would really like to see changing in this world? And think about how you could contribute to the planet to make it better, healthier, to make people happier and more connected with themselves. We all have a purpose. We all have a reason for living.
You can have the same motivation and mission as us, bringing back life into the soil and having babies with mothers again.
There's never enough, and we sometimes have this limitation that we think, but others are already doing what I want to do. Forget about that, because if somebody's opening a restaurant, has a really cool restaurant, does it mean that nobody else should open a restaurant? There is enough for everybody, and your voice is needed. We have also heard from a lot of you, which really moved us, that the message which we brought across was meaningful in some way to you. And even if it's just for 5 minutes, that they would feel a little bit better or have a great insight, something that moves them forward in life, then it was worth it. And we have been doing these videos for a year, and at first we thought, who cares, and it's not meaningful in any way. But we are able to reach some people that somebody else is not able to reach, and that's the same thing for you.
If you want to hear more videos like this, where you could be inspired and motivated for the future to be better, then you can also comment underneath the videos or give us a like.
Or you can prescribe to yourself our channel. If you want to know what exactly happens after you quit your job, what process you will have to go through, we recommend you this video here.